This is ridiculous. So I'm starting to type in with the thought of why is my camera resolution small? And stuff that comes up is, amongst others, is why is my eye twitching? Why is my poop green? Why is my hair falling out? And why is my dog shaking?
Mm, wow.
And there's a couple others that are, I won't say because they're just not worth, but it's just like, oh my goodness, life is hard these days.
What's it like to fart in the Batsuit? Does it escape or just
It comes up around your ears.
Why are my ear hairs tickling? Oh, I farted 30 minutes ago.
Because you're watching Sheehan is Dead comics. Welcome, all you Sheehanites.
Welcome.
Scintillating conversation at its finest.
Yes, Scott is joining us somewhere from, I don't know, the third dimension. But anyway, don't forget to check out Organic Price Books. Get yourself $2 off. Put in the coupon code Sheehan is Dead, and you'll accumulate points. And then once you accumulate points, you can spend them on coupons. And then next thing you know, you're going to go down the dark rabbit hole that is omnibuses, especially and absolute editions. So
You'll make Robbie very happy.
yes.
He said the quickest thing he ever purchased as far as an omnibus was it Super Friends?
Super Friends?
It was the cartoon show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he said he loved that comic. What was the woman's name? It was like Verona Sedona or something. He's like, it looks cool and it sounds cool. It was one of his on his more recent casts. He was talking. I finally met her when she was 96 years old. I could finally put the face to the name. Today. I ran across town to do some errands before work tomorrow, and I listened for like 10 or 15 minutes. He's been doing the decades again. Apparently, he's got one for 1985, which I was very excited about. Be interesting to see what he has to say. And I think the next one was 1996, and then he had a couple other things in between.
He's on the set of an unnamed Batman project.
Unspecified. He can't say the name of it. It's got like the code name is Blue Harvest.
Blue Harvest.
Yep.
That's all I can say.
Yep.
You'll just have to find out in a year and a half.
Even the stationery says it.
Like when Batman Begins, the code name was Intimidation Game.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I think Blue Harvest was the original Star Wars one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice name though, Blue Harvest.
Mm-hmm. Hello there.
Hey,
Richard Citron. Look, we're wearing like matching shirts, man. That's awesome.
yeah, we set that up.
Yeah, we did. Definitely. How you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Well, thank you. Forgive Scott's camera. It's some kind of Zoom update, so he's coming from the third dimension.
Yeah, I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Yeah, I promise you, it's usually this size. Anyway, so what's cooking? Are you working on any movies like in the past 3 weeks, or you got something coming up? What's going on?
No, nothing right now. Maybe something coming up a little bit later in the year, but nothing right now with that writer's strike.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
kind of slowing things down a bit. And probably the directors will follow, but usually the directors, they usually figure that out real quick because they can still do stuff when the writer's strike's going on. But when the directors strike, they're done. You know, everything shuts down. So, we'll see how it goes, see how long it lasts.
Is there a forgive me because I genuinely don't know. Is there a stuntman union like that? Or you guys
No, we're part of SAG.
Okay.
I wish there was. We most of us wish there was. We had our own separate union. Because SAG just isn't. They're not a very good union. They're not very strong. They buckle under to the producers all the time. Some people think they're in the producer's hip pocket, and they have been for a long time. So we just tend to lose things with every negotiation. Things that people that came before us, when the union was strong, they fought for and they went on strike for, and now our union gives away a little bit. Each negotiation they give a little bit away, and it's just frustrates a lot of people.
Huh? That's too bad.
I appreciate you letting me know that because you're part of SAG. Okay.
How long have you been in the business, sir?
About 30 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, you still look.
Was that what you intended? Like how did you get to that point? It's not like your typical choice of careers.
Well, I had, when I moved here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, primarily to study martial arts under Dan Inosanto, who was Bruce Lee's protege.
Hmm.
So I had a loose plan of becoming an instructor under Guru Dan, and then moving back to Pittsburgh and opening up my own school. But I always had in the back of my mind that the film industry was always interested me, and I thought that it might be cool to maybe try to do stunts in the film industry, because I've always done physical sports and I've always enjoyed it. And I thought, something like stunts would be a really cool career, but I figured it would really be tough to break into. And and I had a little bit of a background and I boxed back in Pittsburgh, and I trained martial arts primarily on my own. I mean, I just, whatever I could find in a book, I would, Bruce Lee's books or Guru Dan's books, I would just, take all that in, and whoever I wanted to train with me, I would just train. And so it was kind of informal. So I just figured, well, when I get a little more proficient at fighting and maybe some weapons and stuff, maybe I'll be able to break into the stunt industry as a fighter. So, and that's actually how it turned out. So I quickly trashed my idea of moving home and opening up a school, and just decided to devote all my time to pursuing a stunt career.
Cool.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's
What
super
was
cool.
your first, I'm sorry, Brian.
No, please go ahead.
What was your first film project?
My first union job, I did about 2 or 3 movies as, I got paid as a backgrounder, but they called it special talent because I was basically doing stunts, but they weren't paying me for it. So I did about 2 or 3 movies like that. But my first union project was a movie called Ninja Kids Knuckle Up.
What year was that?
Oh, that was 1992, I believe, somewhere around there, early 1992. I think it was 93, right around there.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was in the demographic in 92. So I don't remember that one, but I remember like Three Ninjas, but I don't remember that one.
That's it. That's the sequel to Three Ninjas.
Oh, okay.
The Three Little Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the sequel to it.
Oh, it's a sequel. Well, then I did see it. I loved all those movies, the first, second one, and all that good stuff.
All
So
right.
were you like one of the ninjas who they beat up or what?
Yeah, as one of the guys they beat up. I wasn't a ninja. I was just a guy, just a bad guy in town. A group of guys, and I got. It's funny because I got this. This shows you how much things have changed in the industry from stunts point of view. I got the job because I could use a butterfly knife. A balisong, right? Which you see all the time. You used to see them all the time in movies, but at that point, nobody really knew how to use it. So I knew how to use it, so that's how I got the job. I wasn't in the union yet, so they said, look, we'll put you in the union. Just come in and do your thing with the balisong. And so, and they used to call us, the old stunt guys, the old timers used to call us the karate guys. You one of those karate guys, because there still wasn't a ton of us in the industry yet. So anytime you were a fighter, you were a karate guy. And now there's so many. I mean, there's a plethora of martial artists that are in the industry now. It's overwhelming. But back then, and now there's tons of guys that can use that knife. But back then, they couldn't find anybody out of stunts that could do it. So that's how I got that job.
Very cool.
I was thinking that's gonna be in the thumbnail of this video. Can you use what do you call it again? The knife?
Balisong knife or a butterfly knife?
Can you use a butterfly knife? That'll be in the bullet points. So I got to tell you, I love over your shoulder that big Batman statue. Is that in your likeness? That one or
no? The one in the armor suit is actually is in my likeness, but the other one is Ben.
Oh, okay.
Because they were Sideshow. It was a Sideshow, or I can't remember who it was. Somebody contacted me, Hot Toys, or somebody contacted me and said, "Hey, with the armored figure, we can't get Ben's his people to whatever, agree on the contract or whatever they wanted going to give him or whatever, but they just couldn't agree on it. So they said, we know you were in the suit a lot, do you mind if we use your face for it? I was like, no, I don't mind at all. So for that one, most of them are Ben, as they should be, but for that one it's actually me, so it's kind of cool.
Wow.
Can you still find, is that still out there? Can you find that?
Yeah, I think so. You probably can.
Oh, that's neat.
It's hard to say because they make so many, and then once they sell out, they're done. But then you find them on eBay, and people selling them for like twice or three times what they paid for.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So when it's so instead of them contracting with Ben, they contracted with you to do that.
For the one figure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so how do they, is it like, do they tell you how many they're going to make up front? Like, how do they package that kind of an arrangement?
No, they didn't. They didn't tell me how much they were going to make or anything like that. It really had nothing to do with it. I wouldn't get paid like per figure or anything like that. It's just basically getting my approval on it, and that's
Okay.
it. I was happy to do it.
Yeah, fun.
That's so cool. So there's no searching in the search bar on like Hot Toys, the Richard Citrone.
No.
Yeah.
That would be cool though.
Yeah, no, it would be cool. Yeah, no, there's nothing like that though. But
That's so cool, man. I was trying to get Scott a little up to speed on, who you were, because I'm a big follower of Zack Snyder's DC movies. And the first one you were in was Man of Steel. You were in Zod's camp. And I think you had one speaking part. You're like, get out of the way, like that, right? At the beginning?
yeah, one or two lines in the movie. Yeah, something like
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah, I don't want to shortchange your second
No,
one.
no, it was something like that. It wasn't a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so cool. But whenever I watch the movie, I'm like, oh, that's Richard Citrone. I know who you are.
Yeah. I was actually in Dawn of the Dead too.
Okay.
Well, I've actually done every one of Zach's movies. I just did a little thing in the credit sequence when they take the boat to that island. So I'm me and a bunch of guys that are now like mainstays with Zach. We all come out of the woods and we're like attacking the people on the boat. So it was fun.
Good
That's
times.
cool.
Good times. That's way cool. And of course, the coup de grace, everybody loves you as Batman in the warehouse fight. That I know you've heard it millions of times, but that is an awesome sequence. Can you go into
Thank you.
No, thank you. Can you go into how that came about? Like what Damon Caro is the stunt director or second unit?
So yeah, he was stunt coordinator, and I think he did second unit on that. I think he may have done second unit on that film as well.
Right. So you guys are like, hey, we're gonna need like 15 guys, and then Richard, you're gonna start coming at it, from the floor, or like how did that? Can you take us through that, please?
Well, it's always the same process with Zach's movies. Zach and Damon will meet, and they'll discuss the scene and what Zach is expecting out of the scene and how he wants it to motivate the rest of the picture, and what type of type of things he would like to see in it. And then Damon takes that plan and then he grabs some guys to put it together, with him. And so they start getting ideas together, and Damon's a big fan of Batman as well. So he wanted to keep it very much comic book, very faithful to the comic book and to the character, that we're used to seeing. So they'll get together and they'll put something together, and then Zach will come back in at that point after it's been put together, and he'll say, oh yeah, I like this, I like that, maybe change this, maybe do this at this point instead of that point. And so he'll kind of put put his decision making into the whole process, because in the end it's Zach's work, so we want to make sure that he's very happy with it. And so then slowly but surely it kind of comes together. And then with something like that was a really important fight for us. So before we even started shooting, we spent about 3 months rehearsing that fight.
Wow.
So we had that fight down. All of us could have done that fight blindfolded. It was so important to us because we knew it was, we wanted to put out the best Batman fight ever seen on film. Number one, we wanted to make Zach happy, because action's important to Zach. And, we wanted to give the fans something that they've been looking for. I know, at least for me personally, for a long time. I've just never been so thrilled about the Batman fights that I've seen in the theaters, because I'm a huge fan. And I know some of these stunt doubles, I know them all, and I know they're great fighters, but they just they just weren't put in a situation where everything came together for them. You know, a lot of times your hands are tied when you're the performer and you just do what's given to you, you know, and you don't have much input. So I know a lot of these guys, they could have put better stuff together, but, you know, and they're great fighters, but they just, you know, they just didn't have all the tools around them that, you know, people in their corners, you know, saying, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And, you know, and then letting them put some input into the fight. And I was very lucky. I had a perfect storm. I had, you know, I was able to put my input into it when I had something to say. And I had an all-star stunt team that made me look really, really good. I had a great coordinator who is a great martial artist and knows action really well, has an incredible eye for detail. I had a director that was like, he's in a mask, so, you know, Rich can do a lot of it, you know? So, you know, that was very lucky because some directors, they don't care. They want their actor doing everything. You know, and there's Ben, I'm not saying Ben didn't do anything, he did. There's Ben in there for sure, but I was allowed to do a lot of it. So that doesn't always happen. So everything just came together perfect for me, you know? And yeah, and then from there we just rehearsed it like crazy. It was one of the first things we shot when we got to Detroit, you know, because we're all amped up for it. And, you know, personally, I spent, I don't know, countless hours on it. I would rehearse it and then go home, have some dinner, and go out in my garage and just walk it by myself and just picture all the guys in front of me over and over and over again, you know? So we did a lot of hard work on that scene.
You move like lightning fast.
Yeah, that suit slows me down a little bit. If you see the opening fight of Watchmen, I don't know if you remember the comedian fight in Watchmen. Yeah. That was me beating him up, right? So I actually can move pretty fast, but in that suit, man, it slows you down. But I moved as quick as I could. It's 40 pounds of latex rubber. So it's tough to lug it around, you know. But I had a lot of experience in those suits, so I knew exactly what I was getting into. But yeah, you got to, you know, if you're Batman, you gotta move and be as proficient as possible. You got to look the part.
Dude, it was almost like the Arkham games.
Oh, I've heard people say that. Yeah, that's cool. I like that actually because those games are pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. I absolutely love that. What about I know that just to take it back, you were Iron Man in the third act, the whole third act, or?
Yeah, most of the Ironmonger fight is me. Most of it, not all of it, but most of it's me. I came into the movie a little bit late because my buddy who was doubling Iron Man went off to double Harrison Ford in one of the Indiana Jones movies.
Oh,
so I was really fortunate to jump in there and be able to finish that movie.
That's so cool. And you did it in what, a size 10 or something, I heard?
Oh yeah, I wanted that so bad because I love comic books. You know, as a kid, I'm all about superheroes. So I wanted that job so bad that I squeezed my size 12s into a 10. And it's freaking painful. At the end of the day, my feet were numb. In fact, when I was done with that job, my toes on my feet were numb for a few months.
Months.
wow.
Yeah, months.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get the feeling back in, to be honest with you. Yeah. But that was a really special job for me. Yeah, awesome. Really enjoyed that job.
What about was that the first comic movie you had done or anything previous?
First one I got to be the superhero. I did Daredevil, the Ben Affleck movie Daredevil. And I did like a little fight against him in the bar. Me and a bunch of guys in the bar fought him. But as far as being the superhero, yeah, that was my first time.
That's so cool, man. And then after Iron Man, that was 2008. What did you do right after that? Can you recall? Or
I'd have to look at my IMDb page to be honest with you, but I know I did Thor, the first Thor movie.
Okay.
Not too long after that, I played a frost giant captain.
Oh.
So I think that was a year maybe after that, something like that, because I think that was Marvel's second movie, right? Thor, Iron Man was first, and Thor was second, I think.
Boy, I don't recall.
It was Iron Man 2. They partnered with I don't know, was it Fox or something at the time, or Universal? They made the Incredible Hulk. And then it was
Was that the with
It
the
was
that Hulk
four.
movie? Was that the one with
No. That was the one with Edward Norton.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, not the other one. And then and I remember Thor came out in 2011 when it came.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Okay. And then what about that? Have you been involved with Marvel since then, or just hitting here and there? Or
Yeah, here and there. I doubled Vision in Captain America Civil War.
Mhm.
And I was supposed, they asked me to come back to do the final two Avenger movies and double Vision in those. But Ben was going to do his solo movie. So I wanted to make sure I was available for that. So I turned those two movies down to be available for Ben. And turns out that movie never happened. And then so I lost all the movies.
that stinks.
Yeah, sometimes you got to go with what you really want, what your heart tells you to go with, and sometimes it doesn't work out. So, you know,
That's the movie biz, right?
yeah.
Have you ever heard Matt Damon talk about how I'm coming right off what you said? Have you ever heard Matt Damon talk about how he was offered Avatar?
I did not. No.
So you're speaking about, sometimes how it works out is he was saying James Cameron called him and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this film called Avatar.
Mhm.
I'll give you 10% of the revenue of the movie."
Oh my gosh.
Right? So at the time he was making Born Ultimatum and he had to be available for I don't know, like reshoots or something. And he's like, "No, man, I can't. I got to finish this movie." And so
Brutal.
he was doing an interview on some program, and so he looks at the audience, and with this smile of disbelief in himself, he's like, "Yep, I turned down the most money of any actor in Hollywood." And it was like,
Oh my gosh. 10%?
10%.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it made like what, $1 billion, $2 billion, just like
Incredible.
it's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I feel better now.
Yeah. What was the I had seen Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's so many stunts. I was trying to go through it real quick. Were you in that movie at all? Or?
No, I haven't done any of the Guardians movies.
All right. What was the most recent project you've done?
Most recent was Rebel Moon.
Oh yeah, for Zach for Netflix. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think. Oh no, there was one I did after that, but I can't say that one.
Oh,
Yeah, they're really tight-lipped about that one. So
all
yeah,
right.
I can't say that one.
And as far as when you came up, Rich, like, did you read? You said you were a big fan of Batman. Did you read his comics as a kid, or you got into it later, or what?
No, I started probably around 5 years old watching the Adam West TV show,
Sure.
and fell in love with Batman there, and fell in love with Catwoman too.
Hmm. All three or just one?
Primarily the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
she's
Julie Newmar.
Julie Newmar. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, really, really cool. I met her. She's a really cool person. And I read the comics. I had all the comics. I read DC and Marvel. I actually liked them both. Batman was always my favorite, but I loved Captain America, Spider-Man. I like the Marvel comics as well. I just read as much as I could get my hands on. I loved all of them. So
Where would you go? Where would you go to buy them when you were a kid, little?
well, at that age, I was, I would usually get them. My family knew I liked them, so I usually get them for birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because I started reading them very young, like 5. I
Mhm.
was, in the comics. And then as I'd get older, there was a drugstore within walking distance of my house, a couple of miles from my house, and me and my buddy would walk there, and we'd buy our comics, and we'd buy football cards and basketball, baseball cards, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just and to this day I still buy graphic novels occasionally.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, don't really get the comic books much anymore, but the graphic novels I buy.
okay.
Brian's
So-
a big collector of omnibuses.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Fat Boys. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
Yeah.
collect those too, or are you just doing like
I have
deluxe?
some of them. I have a few of them.
Favorite Batman story?
Oh man, it's got to be well, I don't know. There's a couple. I don't know. Long Halloween I really like.
Mhm.
It's a good one.
Kush.
What was it?
Kush, is it
Hush.
Or Hush.
Hush? Yeah, Hush.
Yeah,
Um
that's
and
good.
then what is it? The Dark Knight Rises again,
Oh, Dark Knight Returns. Yeah,
or Dark Knight
that's
Returns? Or isn't there Rises again as well? No,
there's one. It's Dark Knight Returns came out in 86.
that's Frank Miller, right?
Right. And then sometime around 9/11, he put out the Dark Knight Strikes Again, I think.
Strikes Again. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the second one, right?
Yeah. That
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
said was terrible.
Yeah. I like his story, and I just thought it was really cool. And it was cool that Zach paid homage to that with the mech suit in Batman vs Superman,
Yeah, and also
and with the regular suit as well, which is really cool. Because I think it's the first comic book accurate suit ever in a Batman movie, right?
yes, 110%, sir.
Right. So yeah, I thought that was really cool.
So what's the have you kept up with any of the latest Batman, like the Tom King run or the Scott Snyder or
No, I got Frank Miller's third. He came out with a third one, right? I got that one not too long ago. I haven't read it yet, but I haven't kept up with any of the new stuff.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, do yourself a favor.
Mhm.
You can go to Organic Price Books, organicpricebooks.com, because as far as I know, like Scott and I have a coupon code for $2 off, but also just as a consumer, you go there, you could save like 30, 40, 50, $60 off the cover price, literally.
Really?
Sincerely. So organicpricebooks.com, and every dollar that you spend, they give you a point. And so the coupon, the more you buy, the coupons come like $10, $20 off. It's
Okay.
really awesome. But they have a reprint. They're going to reprint Absolute Court of Owls.
Oh, are they
Okay.
really?
Yeah, actually, I'll email you the link. I'll email you the link to that specific book.
Okay.
Have you checked out any of the Absolute editions? Are you savvy?
I don't. I have the Court of Owls. I have a couple of those.
Okay.
I don't think I have the Absolute though.
Because the Absolute, it's like the king size one. They put a
They're
nice
large, really,
Yeah.
really nicely bound, and just
Okay.
like all out. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. And then also coming out, I think in June 13th is Absolute Three Jokers. Have you heard of that one? The Three Jokers?
Yeah, I've read the Three Jokers. I haven't read the Absolute though.
All right, so the Absolute, they're obviously you could pre-order too, but
Okay.
that is by Jason Fabik, who's my personal favorite artist currently.
Okay.
And the art is just like, I mean, even if you were illiterate, you'd just be like, wow, this is beautiful art,
Yeah.
But that's a cool story. That I love that one.
Right. Yeah. So one thing about Frank Miller's books that I don't like his art. I don't like that style, his artwork style.
It's not my favorite.
I like Jim Lee a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I'm a huge Jim Lee fan.
Are you? Yeah.
And Brian kind of busts my chops on that a little.
Yeah, I
No,
kind of figured there was an inner working there. That's not a reaction.
I tell Scott that Jim Lee is like a doorknob. Like everybody's had a turn with Jim Lee. Like it's just Jim Lee mania. Like it's oversaturation, I guess, right?
So
But he is good though. He is
No, I
good.
love it.
Okay, so it just bothers you that he's too popular, too.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, look at this variant that Jim Lee drew on Batman.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
look at this Green Arrow Jim Lee did. It's like, no, I get it. It's cool.
Like everybody you ask, what's your favorite Rush song, and they say Tom Sawyer. Like,
Yeah,
one of those things.
yeah. You got it. But Frank, going back to Frank Miller, his art is brutal for me. It's brutal.
It's really tough. It looks like a child is drawn it. Great storyteller. Great storyteller.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, his stuff is brutal, and I don't know if you saw on Twitter recently, making the rounds is some Wolverine he drew for a project recently,
Okay.
and people are just ragging on it. It looks disgusting. It's really bad.
You mean current work?
Yeah. He just it's on. If you go on Twitter and put in Frank Miller art, like 2023, and everybody just ragging on it. It's terrible, disgusting. But yeah, I'm of the same heart as you, Rich. Thank you. Do you have any graded comics? Have you jumped in that game yet?
I haven't done any graded comics. No, I do have some. I do have some fairly old ones. but I've never gotten them graded.
I'll
Have you
show
been?
you the only graded comic that I have, and this is one that Brian gave me. Hold on a sec.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott might, if his camera starts shaking and he, starts to convulse out of excitement, just hang in with us
Okay.
because I've gotten into it myself. Here he is. There he is.
Jim Lee.
Oh, nice.
X-Men 1. Yeah, Brian got that for me, and it's signed by Chris Claremont too.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's really great.
And that's the wraparound cover too.
Yeah.
That's,
Sorry about the reflection. There we go.
It's all right. Oh man, that's a beautiful cover.
Isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Really nice Lee stuff. Brian doesn't like to admit it, but he's a big fan of Rob Liefeld too.
Yeah.
do you know who Rob Liefeld is?
No, I've heard the name, but I don't know if he's an artist or if he's
an artist and a writer. He's co-creator, or is he full creator of Cable, or I mean Deadpool, or co-creator?
Co-creator out of technicality, he says. So
yeah, so he did, he created Deadpool, he created or co-created Cable. He did a bunch of the New Mutant stuff at the end and converted it into X-Force.
but you're not missing anything. You're not missing anything on that.
no.
If it was 1995, maybe, but not anymore. So
Okay.
but anyway, with graded comics, have you just not perused them, or just you're not like, nah, I'm not really into it?
I'm just not really into it. I mean, I spend my money on so many other things that I probably shouldn't be spending my money on.
That's the two of us. Okay.
Like I said, I love the sideshow stuff. I love the Hot Toys. I got like every figure that I'm able to get from movies that I've done and TV shows that I've done. I got everything that they put out. So I spent a lot of money on that stuff. So it's probably that I haven't allowed myself to get into it really.
Makes sense.
All right, because it's a dark hole, my friend.
Yeah, I'm sure it all is, right? Collecting is in general.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like, just next thing you know, you're like, I'm done. And it's like, oh, what's that? Oh boy. Do you now, as far as the figures or statues, I see you got two behind you. Do you have a stash nearby that you could show us, or is it too cumbersome?
I have stuff in boxes. I don't have it displayed.
What are you moving?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff in boxes, and I'd have to pull them out. But the Hot Toys, I've got like Hot Toys Iron Man, the suit that I wore in Iron Man. Because the first Iron Man was the only one they had a full suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the Iron Man, it was not all, but mostly like a CG suit.
Yeah, in where my eyes visually picked up on it was Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Yeah. You can kind of tell. And you know what? It was so cumbersome, and it pinched. When you get down into stances, it would pinch you in different places. But I wouldn't have traded it for anything because I just feel so much more the character when I'm in a suit. I did the final Ares fight in the first Wonder Woman movie. I did the Ares fight with Wonder Woman, and I was in a full CG suit for that. And it's okay. It's nice because you can move. And you can really move fast because it's like wearing pajamas. But I would just much rather be in a real suit. You just feel the character so much better.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I got a Steppenwolf back here. Can you guys see that? It's actually a real beautiful figure. I'll grab it for you because it's
one in
right
the middle. That's cool. Oh, dude.
I just got this one in.
Very cool.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Pretty sick. There's his axe.
Wow, look at all the articulation on the ribs, on like the ribbing of the points. And
yeah, really, really nice figure.
Who made that one?
I think this the people from Iron
Studios?
It might be. Let me see. I'm gonna have to grab my glasses here for a second. It's blind. Yeah, Iron Studios made it.
Awesome. They make good stuff.
Yeah, they do.
And it's like, at least from what I've experienced, it's a fraction of the cost of like, Hot Toys or Sideshow.
Yeah, probably a little cheaper, but not much.
Yeah.
Not much. Yeah.
That's so cool. Thanks for showing that one, man. Appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
Definitely.
So as regards, because you said the Ares fight, were you in the rewritten one or the original one?
Um,
Is it the one in the movie that we see?
yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay.
There's a rewritten one. I'm not sure
Yeah,
what.
like I don't know if it happened like shortly before or after, but I've heard so much that Patty Jenkins had a whole different third scene,
Hmm,
and the studio was like, no, we want, this bad. I don't know what the particulars, but it was like, no,
I
we want
see. No, I was in the one that was released. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now, just out of curiosity, did you meet Gal Gadot on the set or?
I've known Gal since Batman vs Superman. I've worked with her 4 or 5 times. Yeah, yeah. I know Gal really well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're able to speak in front of her. I'd be like, oh my God. Yeah. All right. Now, as regards Gal, I bought and I showed Scott one of the graded comics. It's from I think, what is it, Justice League 50 or something. It's got a foil cover of her, just her on the front. And I sent
Okay.
away to CGC, and they
Oh,
did a signing event with her about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Got it back. So it's like that, and it's like signed by Gal Gadot on April 12th, 2023.
Took him like
Nice.
almost 2 years to get it back.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
Really?
Yeah, it was
yeah,
crazy.
so
You probably gave
that's
up hope on it, huh?
a little bit, because once they're gone that long, you can get it back with like the grade itself is 9.8. You can get it back like 8.5 or less because maybe Gal sneezed on it or like her cat jumped on it, and then you know what
Yeah.
I mean. So um let's see. As regards the third act of Wonder Woman, you were Ares, and did she fight with you at all in that? Or
Yeah.
no, I've seen you in a motion capture suit because you also do Steppenwolf?
I did. Yeah. I did Batman and Steppenwolf for Justice League.
All right. So the one for Steppenwolf, each one that he's in, you're him, or did you rotate
I'm
out?
him. Yeah.
Okay.
And I did the lines. Of course, it's not me. It's the actor in the movie. But while we were shooting for the actors, I did all his lines so they could, they had something to play off of.
No,
So
wait a minute. I'm confused. Sorry if I'm a slow learner because Justice League, right?
Uh-huh.
So two different cuts on that one.
Yes.
And Steppenwolf looked different from one to the other. Am I not
Yes.
wrong?
That's correct.
But it's still the same acting?
Yes.
Okay.
It's because you remember it's a CG suit, so you can put anything on. You can lay when you're doing post production, you can lay anything on that CG suit.
Okay.
So what they did was, with Josh's version, they had a particular way that they wanted the character to look,
Right.
and then Zach had a completely different way, but you can still lay different things on that suit. So it's very
That's wild.
yeah, it's pretty cool. They could have made it look like anything they wanted, because they still have that raw footage, of course.
I guess that makes sense. I just never really thought it through that far. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Now, if it would have been, of course, if it had been, a real suit, then you're
You're in big trouble. You can't do that. So that's probably another reason then at least some directors probably eat that stuff up because it's like, boy, we can do whatever we want bunch of different ways, later.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's like that's like crack cocaine for someone like George Lucas.
Right.
Go back and twiddle with it forever.
Yeah. And then it's funny. And then some directors, they want practical.
Yeah.
They want as much to be practical as possible. And I like the way Spielberg did it in Jurassic Park with the dinosaurs, because it was part of Stan Winston's group doing practical dinosaurs and then part CG. So it makes it trains your eye to believe when you see the practical stuff close up. It trains your eye to believe the CG when it's a bigger shot of the dinosaur.
It's true. It's true.
Really
I really appreciate that application in the more recent Star Wars stuff, and particularly even perhaps the shows, the Mandalorian and using the practical, and then it does help you buy into the CGI wherever that's used, and it's much more enjoyable. Go back and watch like the Clone Wars or something now, which is just all digital, and it's like seems so obvious. Not that it's not good or not enjoyable, but it just has a totally different feel to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Really does. I'm gonna sign off, guys. I'll let you go. And I really appreciate you being with us, Richard, and taking the time. Really glad to have you on, and it's been really interesting speaking with you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you.
Now I know you also did Suicide Squad, the first one, right?
Yes, the first one. Yes.
First one. Were you, but you did the stunts that you did, was it was just the where you were on the car.
I was on the car and I dropped down in the alley in front of a Deadshot.
That was you.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
alley.
So there was a little fight. I think there was a little fight with Deadshot in an alley, if I remember right. Not much. I think a little fight. Yeah, and then mostly the car stuff on top of the Joker's car.
In that one, I heard you say on Holy Batcast, you said what's his name? Leto was still in character and being creepy. And
yeah, he stayed in between shots. We were doing, the close-ups. We had the car on a stage in Vancouver or Toronto, and we were doing close-ups. And so they, we're changing shots, and they got to relight. And so people are going their separate ways. I'm just staying up on top of the car, and I'm just sitting there. And Jared stays in the car too, and he looks up at me through the moonroof, and he just stays in his Joker character and starts talking to me like I'm Batman and he's Joker.
You're like, what in the world?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. Like it took me a second. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. So I'll feed him. I'll feed him, give him what he needs. So I was Batman right back. So yeah, it was cool. But when I worked with him on doing the additional photography for Justice League, for Zach's Justice League, he was much more sociable. He didn't stay in character, the way he did when I saw him on Suicide Squad. He was very sociable, very nice, and just completely different deal. So it was kind of cool. Getting to work with him on Justice League was fun because Jared and Ben's schedules didn't align. So everything that's shot on Jared over my shoulder is me. So I'm giving him Ben's lines. So he's reacting off of me in that scene, So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that. I mean, it's pretty cool. I like doing lines. So I always have fun when I get a chance to do that. So it was cool.
You've done so much in the suit, like you said, you've given lines and whatnot. Have you given any thought to, or had the chance to maybe have a bigger role in a movie? Or
I haven't. There was one time in my career when I wanted to pursue acting a little more, and then I kind of thought, it's a tough life. If you make a name for yourself in stunts, it's a much, much easier life. And I think in general, stunts is an easier life than an actor, because you're going to have more stunt performers on a film, so you're going to have more opportunities to work. Acting is tough. That's a tough life. Now, once you get a name for yourself, then it's a very nice life. Right. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make it sound like, it's like digging ditches every day for a living. It's not like that, but it's just tough to make a career in acting until you break in. So I just kind of abandoned it. But, as I'm older now, and I think maybe I'll do, some acting, because I can't hit the ground forever. Your body can just take so much. So I think about that sometimes. Like maybe I'll join a play in a theater company in my town here or something like that. So I may just end up pursuing acting a little more than I have in the past, because I do enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Do you have a particular age where you're looking like, when I reach like 50, 60, I'm going to stop or stunt work? Or
when I reach 60,
like for instance, just an argument.
Well, that would have been almost 2 years ago. So I did not stop yet. Yeah, I'm 61. I'll be 62 in July.
Dude, I was gonna say 55, but I didn't want to insult you.
Wow, no, 45. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about, man? Wow, 61?
Yeah.
Holy moly, Rich,
when I did Batman vs Superman, I was 54.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that, because I've seen you I've seen you with on Google, like the images with just you in the suit and no cowl. That's your hair, like no hair club for men either. Your hair's still rocking.
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty. I have good genetics, I guess, for hair. I know my hair is fine. Yeah, and it's one of those things where I'm just blessed with my family has good genes for aging. And when I was in high school, I looked like I was a little kid. So I think this is kind of like my karma. I deserve some good karma.
Yeah.
You know how it is in school. Like I was always an athlete, and that was cool. But the girls, man, the girls want the older looking guys. They don't want guys that look like they're 3 grades below them. So so my dad always used to say, "Don't worry about it. When you get older, you're gonna be glad you look young." So
Yes.
he's right. Yeah, yeah. But in answer to your question, I'm just gonna play it by ear.
So it's not like football or like football or hockey, something physical where they're like, oh, my joints hurt and blah blah blah, and I'm gonna quit as soon as I can.
Yeah, I mean, stunts can be like that. Well, with stunts though, some jobs you get are much easier on the body. You get a break a lot, and then but it still can be a very physical job. So I think I'm just going to play it by ear. This is what I love to do. I've had opportunities coming up through stunts to do things more behind the camera.
Oh wow!
And I just don't enjoy that as much.
Okay.
I didn't want to take the coordinating route or the second unit director route because I love to perform. And it's one of those things where that's probably the smart thing to do as you get older. But I went with my heart. I want to perform. I love to perform, and I always knew, it's going to come a time when I'm not going to do it anymore. But I'll just go until I can't do it anymore. And I'll enjoy my career a lot more.
Do they phase guys like you out because they're like, oh, Richard's 61?
It's not that they're phasing you out. It's just they know that, put it this way, movie making is a young person's, not movie making, let me rephrase. Performing in movies is a young person's career, really, right? Most parts in movies are for people in their 20s. If you look at movies, most parts, not all, but most, right? So most stunt performers are going to be younger, and they know, the coordinators know that, a young guy hits the ground, he can pop right back up. You're much more durable when you're young. When you're older, you don't get up as quick as you used to. I did Army of the Dead, for Zach, where I played Zeus, and I did a couple things where I'm hitting the ground, and and you can't really wear any pads, on your upper body because I didn't have a shirt on for that whole movie, and you feel it, when you're older, you feel hitting the ground, and so it's one of those things where you don't really get phased out, but it is what it is. Younger guys are more durable, in general. Now I have the thing that keeps me in the game, I think, is I'm a good performer and I'm an experienced performer, and I can get something done quickly. Like it's not going to take me a lot of takes, to get a shot done, because I understand the camera angles. I understand, I've been there probably tons of times already. So my experience probably is what really helps keep me in the game, I would say.
So nobody's been like, hey, Rich, respectfully, we know you turned 61. Can you show us if you can still do a spin kick and send us the video so we can look at it? Or
when I did Batman vs Superman, one of my best friends, it coordinated it. Damon Caro we've been training partners since 1988. And he's one of my closest friends. And he said, I gotta audition you. I got some young guys that I'm gonna look at too. And I gotta audition you. Because that's just the way it is. You have they want the best, that they can find. They want the job to look as good as possible. This is movies are forever, right? So I auditioned, and then they said, I won't want to come back and audition again. So I came back and auditioned the second time. And then, a couple of days later, I heard, yeah, you got it. You were, you were awesome. So I was very grateful, because that's the one job I wanted more than any I've ever had. So, yeah, you gotta prove yourself constantly in this industry, for sure. Yeah. There's very few free rides in this industry. There's too much money on the line.
Well, I was viewing it as like, for instance, Damon would say, oh, Rich is one of my guys, so I'm going to bring him on this movie, as almost it was default.
That happens for sure. I mean, it's a community effort, and there's a lot of it is friendships and family, but you have to be able to do the job, and Damon would definitely do that. But I'm not going to be the lead in every movie that I do, or I'm not going to double the lead in every movie that I do. So there's things in there that for sure that I could handle no matter what age I am. So yeah, absolutely, that will happen with friendships and families and like that. They'll bring you in on something and just put you somewhere where they feel like you could do well in this part right here. But when it comes to the main guy, then you got to usually you got an audition, unless you're a younger guy and you have a really great reputation and they know exactly what you can do. Probably 15 years ago, I wouldn't have had the audition. Damon probably just would have gave it to me like, yeah, I know what you can do. But like I said, when you get older, a lot of times they still want you to prove yourself, which is understandable. But no, I get a lot of jobs where they just call me in and just go, yeah, are you available for this time, this date?
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, that's good because you don't have to audition for those. They're just like, hey.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I really don't mind at all. It's part of the. I've been doing it 30 years, and sometimes it's part of the process. So
Is there a minimum to where it's like if they use you, they have to use you for 5 scenes or 5 minutes combined, or is it just as needed?
no, it's just as needed. I got hired on a job one time. Man, I can't even remember the name of the movie. It was a Bruce Willis movie, and they flew me up to Portland. I was supposed to box him, right?
Bruce Willis.
Boxing Bruce Willis, right? And I was up there for an entire week, sitting in this hotel in Portland, and they never used me once. So they paid me for a week, and I guess they decided to get rid of the scene completely. They didn't even want to shoot it, so I got paid for a week and then flew home. Wow. Didn't do a thing. So It just depends. Some days you'll get hired, and or some jobs you'll be there for months, and other jobs you'll be there for a day.
So for like Batman versus Superman, I assume it was months because you were in multiple scenes, or?
Well, I was the lead double, so I was there from beginning of rehearsal till end, which was probably about 9 months of work, I would say. It was,
for each movie, or?
Depends on the movie, depends on what you're doing in the movie.
No, but I mean for Batman v Superman and Justice League, or combined?
Justice League was about the same, maybe 10 months in London. I think we were there 8 or 9 months in London, something like that. So Zach's movies are usually go pretty long.
Have you ever been on fire?
Yes.
Really? Your whole body, or?
Whole body, yeah.
What movie was that?
That was Ghost of Mars. I played the lead bad guy. His name was Big Daddy Mars. It's John Carpenter. I think it's his last movie he directed.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was in 2000. And I did a full burn in that movie.
Was it just on the back or the front or the whole?
Whole everything.
Oh my.
Now the gel they have now is so much better than back then.
Yeah.
The gel they have now you could put on your skin, because back then you're still in like a fire suit and you have the gel on you and everything, right? The gel they have now, they can put it on bare skin and light it. It's so good.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. You could really be naked, seriously, and just gelled up and be full burn, and you'd be fine.
Naked.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I wouldn't advise it though, but you could do it.
So I shouldn't send you an email. Hey, do you think this will work?
Yeah, probably don't do that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite movie you worked on?
Yeah, Batman vs Superman for sure.
Was that because of how much work you had in it, or just the overall?
Because of the character. That was my dream job. My whole career, my whole life. Basically, it's what I wanted to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
that was it. I can't see it getting much better than that.
Certainly. What about excuse me, have you ever, or have you given any thought, or have you ever gone to, say, like Comic-Con and dressed up as Batman?
I would go as myself, if I was invited, and every now and then I'll do something like that. But yeah, it would be cool to do that. Anytime I've done things like that, I did a few Comic Cons, and I've always had fun with them. They're always cool. The fans are always really, really cool, really nice people, and really excited about getting to meet people that they like on film. They like the characters and stuff, and and I go to Comic Con every year. Just like me and a buddy, or me and my son will go every year that I'm in town, that I can go. And it's always really cool. It's a cool atmosphere. You're packed in San Diego because it's the biggest one in the world, right? But you never see any issues. Like, there's never fights, right? Everybody just gets along really well, and it's really cool atmosphere. I've always enjoyed it.
You know what? That's a great point. There aren't any fights at Comic Con.
No,
Right?
I mean, if you have that same amount of people that are like sports fans or UFC fans, can you imagine that?
Yeah,
God.
too much beer and testosterone.
Exactly. Bad combination.
Yeah, very very bad combination. Yes,
that's part of the fun, though, of going to those things. You've seen all the cosplays. Some of those people are really talented.
Amazing.
I saw an Iron Man suit out there, seriously, that was like way better than the one I wore.
Yeah,
Like, it was incredible. I'm like, oh my God! Like, some of these people are really good.
they're unbelievably talented. Now, I'm guessing by your light, are you in California or?
Yeah, I'm in California.
All right, so you've gone to San Diego. I live in upstate New York,
Okay.
in Albany.
Okay.
So, excuse me, I've gone to New York Comic Con 4 times. We just take a train down there.
Okay.
And the level of cosplay that some of these people do, it just blows my mind. It's unreal. It's like, where did you find that, and how did you build that?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a guy who was Hawkman, and my mom took a picture with him, and he had the big wings like this,
Right.
And every time he turned, I had to tell her, you got to turn with him when we take pictures. They'd hit her. Or I've seen people dressed like mech suits, or Batman.
Yeah.
One guy did Two-Face really good, where he had the makeup and he did the whole suit thing too. It was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Nice. Yeah, there's some great ones. I mean, some really, really creative people out there that like, man, how did they do that? Like, really dedicated to what they do.
Now, just real quick, Rich, I don't want to keep you too much longer. And thank you so much for making time. I'm really grateful.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem.
I was telling Scott, I'm like, when Richard comes on, he's a really nice guy, real easy to get along with. He'll be fine, So
thank you.
Really appreciate you.
Sure, no problem.
Is there any do stunt guys have any sort of royalty program if they're in a certain number of movies, like actors do, or?
Well, we're on the same residual scale as actors.
Oh, okay.
So,
being part of SAG.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. I'm sorry?
So yeah, you're part of SAG like them, so it's the same deal.
Oh yeah, it's the same residual scale, exactly the same. It doesn't matter if if you're a stunt performer and you made whatever amount on a movie and an actor makes 10 million, whatever. If you both max out on that movie as your time put in on the movie, and it's just a certain amount of money made to max out. It's not a lot. Once you both max out, you make the same residuals. Now the difference is if the actors are getting points on the back end, right, and then that's a whole different deal. But as far as residuals, yeah, we get the same amount as the actors.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's really nice. I mean, it's a really nice perk of our career, because especially when something like COVID hits.
Yeah.
I mean, you really appreciate it because nobody was working, really, and so to be able to continue to get money in the mail when you can't work was really it's a godsend. It's very, very fortunate.
Do you know what's coming, or is it just kind of like, oh, I just got this much in my account, and they said it was for what movie? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can check the SAG website to see what residuals you have coming in.
Oh.
But back in the day, before I knew about it, I don't know if you could always do that, but it would just be a surprise. You would just get the check. Oh, yeah, this is nice, But so yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a really nice perk.
That's way cool, because I was thinking that maybe as you guys were like freelancers, so here's what you get, and God bless, So
no, I say if you do a buyout, like a non-union buyout type thing, but the SAG, our union, strongly disagrees with their union workers doing non-union projects. So
I understand. What is your favorite part about being a stunt performer?
I think the challenge to do something that that is very, very effective on film, makes the audience believe wholeheartedly in what you're doing, helps the movie helps to motivate the movie and move the movie along, helps tell the story. You know, all those things, I really enjoy that challenge of doing that. You know, whatever it is, doing it above and beyond what the person who gave you the job expected of you. That's like one of my favorite things, you know, about performing stunts, is I hold myself to a very high level, and I just, you know, I'm my own worst critic.
Mhm.
So I just want to, because, you know, I like the fact that this stuff is going to be around. Who knows if you can say forever? I don't know if you can say forever, but it's going to be around long after I'm gone, long after we're all gone, right? It's still, other generations will be watching it. So I always have that in mind when I perform. I want it to, you know, I want it to look good and something I can be proud of. So I think just the performance basis of it is probably my favorite part.
And last question, in your 61 years of life, is there a lesson, like the number one lesson you've learned that you'd like to pass on to people? Or?
Yeah, first thing that pops to my head is it's so easy to get caught up in negativity, right? It's so easy to hear someone tell you something and then take it to heart and then actually believe it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you have a dream or a goal, you got to shut out all that excess, all those people that, because I heard it, trust me, I've heard it, you know. So you got to shut all them out, and you got to concentrate on that goal, and you got to persevere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you just don't let anything stop you. You don't let anything prevent you from getting what you want. You know, you make it your number one priority, or at least as close to your number one priority as possible. If you have a family, of course you can't do that. Your family is your number one priority, but you put it right at the top there with your family, like maybe right below your family, and you do everything you can to achieve it. You know, because if you don't, when you get older, you'll look back and you'll regret it. You know, and I don't think any of us ever want to have regrets about something that we could have done with our lives, and we just maybe were too afraid, or we listened to those voices, that negativity out there. We've succumbed to that. Just got to shut it out. Believe in yourself, shut it out, and don't let anything stop you. That's probably the first thing that pops into my head.
Well, thank you. That was quick. You didn't have to think too long. That's
You're
good.
welcome.
The one that I like is as I've gotten older, I just turned 41 in April.
Okay.
And the thing that I've learned the older I've gotten, and I really take to heart, is relationships that you make with people. Work, you know, your family, and then also the people who consistently participate in your life in whatever magnitude, you know. But especially I've learned is you have to connect with other people. There's too much, like, especially with social media, there's too much you know, one and done. Like, I got what I needed from you, or vice versa. Boop, boop, boop. Everything's transactional, you know. But to really make time to listen to someone and to look them in the eye and say, just tell me, how do you feel, you know? When I'm 61, I'm sure it'll be something else plus that. So yeah, I mean, relationships are super important in what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huge. It took me a long time because I'm more of an introverted person.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, not
For
that
sure. Like when COVID hit, like when COVID hit, everybody's like, "Oh my God, I can't go out. I can't see people. I can't." I was like, "What's the big deal?"
Right. Me too.
You know, but I have a friend. He was one of the co-writers of Underworld.
Oh, well, oh, the movie.
Yes.
Okay.
And as far as I've met, he's the one person that I know that probably knows the most about comic books of any friends I have. Yeah, I'll talk to him, and I'll send him send him a note on Facebook or something, or send him a text.
Yeah, but like,
And,
hey, if you want to chat about comics and just, you know, jam.
Yeah, he might be into it. And he, you know, he was he's done some acting, you know, and done some writing, of course. So he'd be interesting to talk to for sure.
All right, thank you. I would certainly appreciate that one. And
yeah, you can get really in depth. Like with me, I don't know it as well. Like it's hard for me to remember the name of the titles and stuff unless I've read them recently. But you can go in depth with him, and he'll be right there. He'll be every step of the way. He'll be like, yep, and this and this, and this guy wrote this, and this guy was the inker on this one, and you'd be like, wow, yeah, he knows his stuff.
Well, let him know.
You enjoy
like,
it.
It's a genuine pleasure. Thank you for being so kind and just being cool, man. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's my pleasure, really. I enjoyed it. It was cool.
All right. If I come up with anything else, or if you're in like a super duper movie that releases, the secret project finally is to boot, and you want to chat, please let me know. I love it. Oh, and if you ever are planning to go to New York Comic Con, let me know that too. That'd be great.
Okay. That'd be cool. Yeah, I may get out there one day. I've always said I want to get out because I've never been to New York's Comic Con, so I may be doing that.
It's the AFC Championship of the Super Bowl. So
nice. I've heard that.
You have the Super Bowl. This is the AFC Championship. And
nice.
Thursday you can move around, and then Friday, especially Saturday, you gotta like tiptoe at certain points. You know.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
Wow.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
I wish success to you, my friend. Good health.
Thank you. Thank you. You as well.